My name is Kaitlyn Maddox. I'm first and foremost a follower of Jesus and wife to Blaine, dog mom to Everett, and I ride bikes and I race.
I'm Blane Maddox. I am 26 and currently working in construction, soon to be professional van lifer. Riding bikes when we can, traveling when we can, and hopefully soon to be riding and racing a lot more often.
All right, well, does it go? Like, the line is to the left. The trickiest part is going to be this route right here. So if I come in like I did, oh yeah, right there. And then just say a little prayer, yeah? All right. I think I clipped a little bit. It's alright. Did it. What's next? I was the little kid who in 8th grade was watching the Olympic ceremonies in August. I remember the opening ceremonies was August 8th in 2008, and watching them take place in Beijing, China, like watching it on TV and seeing them carry the torch into the bird's nest that they had built with this big, beautiful track. And I was like obsessed with the Olympics at that point. And, you know, every kid has these crazy dreams, like they're going to be an astronaut or they're going to be the famous actress. And for me, that was like, maybe I could be an Olympic athlete. I transferred from the elementary school to middle school. They had sports signups, and they had soccer, they had field hockey, and they had cross country. And I chose cross country. And in 7th grade, I got better at running, but I wasn't very good. But I have a bit of an obsessive personality, so I went all in and signed up again then for track. And then so 8th grade, I ran cross country as well. And then in high school, I did pretty much every season, cross country, indoor and outdoor track. Being a middle school girl, I don't think rationally. They see whoever's around them and, oh, you know, Sally's faster than me and she's thinner than me, so that must be the answer. So I started restricting what I was eating, and then my mom would like pack my lunches, and I would, when nobody was looking, like I would throw them away, and gosh, it got really bad. I think I get so upset about it because that was such a pivotal, like, now understanding how to fuel your body for sport, that was such a pivotal time and age to take in these nutrients for your bone density. And later on it came to bite me, and I think a strong correlation to the stress fractures that I had later in life stemmed from the nutrient deficiencies. I actually got my first stress fracture my junior year, I believe it was, my junior year of high school. And at that point, it was like my body finally caught up with me. So I finally like went through puberty and my body started to change because I had stopped running. And so my junior and senior year were actually my worst years for sport. My freshman year was actually, I put out times that I had never been able to achieve since then. And so going into college, I was pretty determined to run for a Division I team, and I tried out my freshman year and no luck. But then I started training on my own, and in my sophomore year, I actually did make the team. So, as per the usual, I ended up getting hurt, another stress fracture, and healed, and then another stress fracture. And at this point, I was just bitter. It's like, maybe like I don't know what I'm supposed to do because I am a runner. Like, what else is there? And unfortunately, like, a lot of my identity was found in running. So constantly getting hurt, I was like, what do I do? In this recovery process, I ended up renting a bike and was very, very bad at it, horribly inefficient, didn't know what I was doing, didn't understand the concept of shifting gears or anything. So being out there on the mountains, I was like walking the bike awkwardly up the trail, and it was brutal. But I did it again the next day and did it again the next day and fell in love. And like I said, the obsessive personality took over, and I was like, this is something hard. This is something I want to get better at. So that's how I found the bike. After renting some really horrible bikes, I said, if I want to get good at this thing, I need to get a good bike. So I started working at the local bike shop, and just so that I could afford a nicer bike and learn more about bikes in the process.
That's pretty, easy with Caitlyn. She's a people person. It's a pretty common scenario. Like, somebody's like, hey, like, can we work at the shop? And like, we can like learn a little bit. So it's a good way to get your foot in the door. Yeah, that's kind of what she did.
And once I finally got a nice bike and started training more and starting to get a feel for the bike, the guys at the shop were talking about this 100-mile mountain bike race called the Shenandoah Mountain 100. And they talked about it like it was the hardest mountain bike race on the East Coast, and that it was brutal, gnarly single track, and people DNF all the time, and you wouldn't be able to do it. Because I had asked about it, and I was like, do you think it's something that I could do? And they just hands down were like, no shot. And I was like, all right, well, that's fair. My longest ride up until that point had been like 35 miles.
I had a lot of years of cycling under my belt before the first time I did that race. And I barely finished it, So I was like, this girl's like, shit, good luck,
So, like the procrastinator that I am, I signed up a month before the race and started getting a little bit more serious about my training, but still not really knowing what I was doing. But sure enough, I finished. By the grace of God, I finished in the dark. In like 15 hours, I was one of the last people to finish. But the next day I looked up there at the podium and was like, I'm going to be up there in 3 years. I gave myself a deadline of 3 years. And last year I went back and podiumed. I think I cut like 4 hours off my time from the first year that I had done it.
I think it's awesome. She's made a way for herself to just dive like headfirst into riding all the time, and she's just changed her lifestyle, and that's what it's all about. That's what you have to do. So you gotta, everything is bikes, and even more than just working in a shop. You know, she's doing coaching, she's training, so riding like crazy, doing the races, getting out there, meeting people, and I think it's incredible. I think there's a ton of potential. And it's not necessarily always about being like top on the podium like in the bike industry now. And I think that's something cool about Caitlyn too. I'm not saying that she doesn't have the potential to be number one all the time. I think anybody who can, you know, dig deep enough might have that potential, but you can get out there and be competitive and win races and get on the podium, but spreading like the love of cycling and reaching kids and coaching kids, and she's always involved in stuff like that too, which is really awesome.
So following Shenandoah, I mean, I had only been riding for 3 years, not really racing competitively, but I wanted to race in a national event. So last year I did Marathon Mountain Bike Nationals and actually ended up placing second. So this was gonna be the year. This was gonna be the year that I was gonna do something big, and I was gonna win nationals, and I was gonna go back and I was gonna win overall in Shenandoah. And then we took a family vacation to Jackson Hole, Wyoming. It was a beautiful day out on the mountain. It was our first day out on the mountain. We took one run. It was my first time skiing on real powder. It was incredible. It was so good. And then we were there with some friends, and they were like, let's go to the top. And we were like, yeah. So there was one shot, one way to get down this mountain, and it was definitely above my capabilities. So yeah, it was just a freak accident. There were a lot of little moguls. I got the speed wobbles and tried to cut real hard and went down quickly. I had a tibial plateau fracture, so that day I went in for surgery and had a plate and 6 screws put in and had them repair the MCL that day. So I thought nationals were out of the picture. I thought immediately I was really disappointed and really upset. And then when I came out of surgery, I was like, this is just like training. I'm gonna do everything right. I'm gonna eat the right things. I know what it takes to heal a bone. I've been there plenty of times before. I'm gonna sleep 8 hours a night. If I don't get that, I'm gonna take a nap. Like, I'm just checking all the boxes. And this is my training. I can't physically be on the bike right now, but I know what I can do to get healthy. And I set the goal that March 1st I would be, I wanted to get on the bike within 4 weeks. But March 1st was gonna be when I started seriously training again.
And straight up. Try to keep that down. Straight up overhead, feet forward, and squat. Okay. All right, back up. So I'll take this for you. We're gonna go heels on the board. Facing forward still, okay? That on your head. Okay. Reset. Is your mid back a little tight?
A little bit.
Yep. Straight up. Try to keep that straight up overhead. And down.
At this point, it's carry on training as usual, which is like 15 hours per week on the bike. And I'm focused on the longer events this year. I kind of switched my focus from the higher intensity, shorter cross-country style races to the longer events later in the season.
Right hand here, left hand underneath.
In Caitlyn's case, I originally saw her for a tibial plateau fracture, which is a fracture in the top part of your knee or your shin bone. And she actually sustained that while skiing.
We're going to bring this back just a little bit more right there. Try to just go straight down with it.
And so I saw her a few weeks after surgery. Usually there's a protocol that we follow just to make sure that everything is safe, healing times, all of that stuff.
I didn't see these numbers before the injury. Let's go.
I originally saw her when she was on crutches still. She definitely wanted to be off of those as quickly as she could, so we kind of had to pull back the reins just a little bit, make sure that the healing times were appropriate.
All right, ready?
Yep.
Essentially, we work on some range of motion, restoring normal walking, all of that stuff.
Nice. How'd that feel?
Pretty darn good.
With the needs of her sport, with mountain biking, you know, we can tailor based on the demands of that sport and what she is required to do on a daily basis.
Yeah. So essentially, that team rep, we want to get it within one at least. You will clear that, no problem. Okay. All right.
I'm getting better numbers now than before.
Right there for me.
Together?
Yep.
A lot of the demands of her sport are a lot of upper body strength, lower body strength, and the balance, not only from a on the bike standpoint, but also it's uneven terrain. So it's not a cyclist where the road is even. Every mile, every quarter mile is a little bit different. So with the balance, a lot of that is, it's not just standing balance or what a normal kind of everyday person would need. It's a little bit more demanding in the fact of having a really strong midline, being able to coordinate certain movements, and being able to adjust when things don't go according to plan.
It's actually really good.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
I'd say 3 on that one.
She was talking a lot about how she would have to lean and occasionally she'd have to step off or something like that. So those are some of the main things that we worked on with her.
You got this. All right. How's that knee feel in that position? I feel like you can bend it back.
You wouldn't believe how many times I like off the bike put an awkward leg down and then like, because it was kind of off camber, slid and like slid into that position. 17.
16. I think you were at 12 last time.
Crazy.
That's pretty good. Nice.
After not using your leg, it becomes a little stiff. So one of the ways that we measure is range of motion. For example, we always compare to another limb. So right side versus left side, we want to just restore as normal as what she was before. Another way we can measure is during the later stages was more of what we would call a motor control screen. So one of the exercise or testing that we did with her was it's basically a single leg squat. But what you're doing is you're standing on one leg, reaching out and pressing out with the other leg, and essentially what that is testing is your ability to coordinate and maintain balance while you're moving the other limb and stuff like that.
Good job.
Cleared wrist.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay, so we're going here, hands on the line, high point position, and then we're
Oh, did we do this? I don't remember this one.
there. Walk.
Can I bend this over or no?
Whatever you want. You're gonna be stronger with it if it's straight. Keep on. One more.
hands are sweaty.
You got it, you got it.
Got it. Hold on. Yeah, another lap.
Come on, girl.
Oh, poop.
You're good, you're good, you're good, you're good, you're good, you're good. All right, so now we take all this information and we'll compile it and have to do some analysis, and then we'll be able to see where the little holes might be.
Okay. So there's that.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
So basically what we're doing here is looking at Caitlyn, just how she handles her power and her strength. Basically this is a capacity test, and able to compare side to side, upper body, lower body, and help us as she starts to get back into her training, things that she can work on to continue to enhance her performance. So obviously she performed very well, but there'll be some few things that we can really kind of put into her training.
Later in part of her rehab, after we had cleared some range of motion, had gotten some baseline strength up, we had her pushing some sled. And what we can use the sled for is a variety of different reasons.
Honestly, it feels really good.
Yeah.
Some of the main things I was working on the sled with her, number one, just to let her feel like an athlete again.
Yeah, you're able to push evenly through both, no quiver or anything.
Yeah.
But then number two, building a little bit of lower body strength.
Yeah,
We changed it up where we were having the arms straight, bent, moving the arms, just to work on different demands on base to replicate sport, but also just to provide some external resistance so that she can push against it and really kind of feel like where she was having challenges with. So we communicated back and forth, how's it feeling? And that's just one tool that we can use to really expose her to different things.
I like it. Right hand behind your back. Look over your right shoulder and twist high as you can. No problems. Okay, other side. Any pain?
No.
Okay, cool. Okay, drop down.
We have a variety of different tools that we can provide to the patients. One of those tools that two of our chiropractors do on staff is called dry needling.
Okay, that was the money one, wasn't it? And now they sit here, and you're going to see a little red response, a little bit of increased blood flow to the area. And then as they stay here for the next 8 or 10 minutes, we're actually going to also start to get, some help with pain modulation and control.
What dry needling is, it's essentially acupuncture style needles. It's different than acupuncture in that dry needling goes after trigger points. Trigger points are tight muscles, balls of muscles, bands, knots. Essentially what you're trying to do is elicit what we call a twitch response.
Other side.
Certain type of comfortable, but yeah.
You okay?
Yeah.
Good. Did good. All right, so now we just let them sit here for a few minutes.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
With that, what you're trying to do is just get a little feedback into the muscle, get it to relax a little bit, and then always follow it up with some sort of exercise or corrective to maintain that new position. Try to relieve some pain, but then also restore normal muscle function so that you can reduce irritation that patient may be having.
I feel like, unfortunately, a lot of athletes that get hurt that aren't at a certain level, I don't know, they don't seek out, help, because I think ultimately they feel like they don't deserve it to be, where they ultimately want to be. But, if you were given, this body and an opportunity to heal, don't half-ass it. Get the help. And it's just...
Yeah, it's easy. I think there's the mentality is shifting where it used to be to suck it up and just push through pain, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so the old, kind of put some dirt on that wound and keep going. So I think now we're starting to, through science, learn that, hey, pain's not a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's telling us something's going wrong and your body's going to adapt to it. So listening to that, and I think that's where you've had to challenge initially, right? Was to push through it all. And now, you did more than just sitting around. So you recovered very quick, and obviously you were in very good shape to start with.
Yeah.
So it helped our cause.
Yeah. But also, through this, I'm not trying to pretend to be anything. I'm not I'll sit here all day and tell you I'm a mediocre at best bike racer, but
But I think there's mediocre, but then I think where you maybe make up with it is obviously your work ethic.
Yeah.
And you're doing a lot of the other things that maybe some people that maybe are a little bit more talent heavy maybe aren't.
Yeah. I feel at the end of the day, it's just base bike racing, but dang it, I have a heart full of ambition, and I feel like as long as you're having fun in the process, like, and allow yourself the room to see what's possible, like, God can do incredible things with that. So I'll keep returning from injuries, I'll keep seeing you, I'll keep rebuilding and see what happens.
Well, I think the biggest thing is creating awareness. You know your body, and you know, hey, this is not feeling good today, so today's not going to be a heavy training day. Today's got to be more of a recovery day. And I think that's stuff where you've shown a lot of growth, whereas before it's like every day's a hard day.
Yeah.
And then you pay for it for how long? So, no, it's been a fun kind of watching.
Yeah.
So, are you still feeling it?
Yeah, that one on the left is...
Pretty intense. Too much?
No. When I was 10 months old, my dad... my dad was a house painter. He worked a couple different jobs, and he was painting the exterior of a building, and he was moving a metal ladder, and the metal ladder had hit the electrical lines above, and they were actually live wires, and they were high voltage. So the voltage went through the metal ladder into his body, and he was stuck onto the ladder, and it went back into trees or bushes that caught on fire. So he had 3rd and 4th degree burns all over his body, and he was airlifted, and they said he wasn't going to live through the day, he wasn't going to live through the week, let alone the month, let alone 5 years. So he lived until I was 5, but I never knew him because he had very little brain activity, and he had a feeding tube, and he couldn't talk or walk. So my mom she had me to take care of, but she had him to take care of. I think, that strength that she instilled in me that I witnessed, growing up has heavily impacted, the person I am today. And my mom did remarry, and the man that she married adopted me as his biological daughter, so I took his last name as well. And so I did have a father figure. So with all that being said, I didn't really get the opportunity to know my real dad. But from the stories that I hear, like, he was absolutely wild. He was a rafting instructor. He was, did crazy things in a kayak, and the skirt would flip upside down. He was a climber. He belonged to a climbing gym. He was an incredibly talented runner. It just sucks because it feels like we would have been best friends because we did the same things, and it's crazy because just I don't know if it's genetic, the innate desire to be out in nature. That's probably the best gift that he gave me. Yeah.
I forget it last time, but it looked a lot better. Yeah. So much smoother than going down to the left. Oh!
I knew as soon as I could do that, I said I didn't take it.
You good?
Yeah. My mom raised me to believe in Christianity, believe, Christ died for our sins, and, it's important to have a relationship with him. He wants to have a relationship with you and to foster that relationship, so that was there. But I wasn't involved in church culture, and it wasn't until I decided that I wanted to go to a Christian school that I became more aware of what it was like for other people to grow up in a Christian home and be more involved, and that was something that I got really excited about and kind of dove into and really wanted to feel more a part of it. And so I would say I officially got saved when I came to a Christian school and became a prayer leader and really started to develop this relationship with Christ. It's been I mean, crucial to deciding who I was going to be as a person and how I was going to live my life and how I was going to interact with other people and the relationships, what they should look like. Oh, it's so nice out.
I know I was saved at a younger age, early teens probably, when I remember, very unforgettable moment in a sense where I can't really describe, the feelings that I was overcome, at such an age. But it wasn't until much later in high school when I really started becoming serious and truly understanding what the Bible has to say and what it really means, and having good mentors and the right friends around that were kind of pointing me in the right directions.
And see what that does for us today.
I really would say that, it wasn't until the last couple years that it's gotten even deeper as far as my faith with Christ and what he's done, and my understanding by having the right people around me and continually asking questions and learning more.
16. I need 1 PSI.
It really never ends.
Yeah, the more you figure out, or the more you think you know, the more you realize that you actually don't know. And it's, the more you study the Bible, the more unfathomable it becomes, trying to understand what he did and why he loves us so much.
I would say with Caitlyn, since we've been married 2 years now, we haven't had a lot of trying times until the last year, and I've seen a lot of growth in her through this incident, that happened with her leg, and just how you can just easily imagine that situation for yourself and how deep of a hole you can dig, and almost pity yourself for where you're at, and to see her, not even dwell on that approach for a second, but, the minute after surgery, I'm okay, we're gonna get through this. And then it was like, focus down the road, and, God has given me this opportunity to come back from something that some people might not be able to come back from. And then her focus and desire to take that time to refocus for a few months on him and the direction that he has for her and for us to go forward. And I think that was really inspiring to watch and see every day.
You can start about the whole team thing, and then I'll explain the name.
What about the team thing?
We made a team.
Okay. Now where'd the name come from?
I guess we were just trying to ponder like a cool name, and I don't know how. It just came Outspoke. Kind of a play on words, spoke, bike, and outspoke, in that we choose to be a little more outspoken about our faith versus a lot of athletes that are Christian and don't really talk about it. I think that's important. It's who we are.
It's why we are. Yeah. I think it's like a double meaning too, because it's not just we're outspoken on the faith, but we're living life like outside the box with like this whole the van thing and living on the road. So it's kind of like, outside the spoke kind of thing, like bikes and outside the box, kind of like a bunch of play on words, kind of.
I hope that I'm a light. I hope that I can inspire other riders. I hope, the athletes that I coach, the competitors I see, I hope they ask me, who is Jesus to you? What's up with this Outspoke thing?
I would hope that somebody would notice that we are different, and the way that we act and behave and the things we do and say, and just that little thought in somebody's mind that, what's up with them? Why are they weird? Why are they different? Why don't they do this or say that? And that little bit, gets somebody the wheels turning in their mind. And the goal is not to be, pointed out as, that person is special or they're different for, whatever reason, but it's just to, we don't live the way the world sees that you should live. And the goal is to just be noticed in a indistinct way, I guess, that, we are different and there's a reason behind being different.
Yeah, we hope for an opportunity where someone would come up and ask us, okay, who is Jesus to you and what is Outspoke? But that's not super realistic. We know that. So what are the practical things that we can do, when the going gets hard in the middle of a race, and I get a flat, I'm not going to throw my bike and throw my hands up in the air and, shout and storm off the course. I'm going to give it my all. And I think that's a way that I can glorify the Lord through my sport, is going out there, doing the best I can, being supportive of other riders.
The biggest thing that I'm most afraid of is leaving the family business and kind of like my career going in a different direction.
It's important to train as if you're racing. It's important to visualize and prepare for the worst possible scenarios.
What are you getting into?
You don't ever see anybody crying on a bicycle,